Hi guys, it's Blackie for Shaman's Forge Bushcraft. Okay, this is going to start a little series that I'd like to call Getting Warm. And basically it's little tips, tricks, things that I've learned over the years on how to stay warm in camp, how to travel in the wilderness, in the woods, in the winter, and try to stay warm. Now, at the very beginning, let us state that blankets and sleeping bags do not generate heat. We generate the heat. Our bodies generate the heat. And our bodies generate heat by two methods. One is physical, or mechanical if you want to call it that, and that's the action of our muscles pumping, of us walking, carrying, chopping wood, and etc. A byproduct of that action is heat, and that heats us. This heat is then carried by the blood back to the core and heats the body. The core of the body holds heat and acts like a battery, so that as the exterior cools, it takes that and takes it back out. So it's sort of a heat exchanger. Now, when we're up and we're active and we're correctly dressed for the environment, we're warm. In fact, we can be a little bit too warm. And it's a good idea not to sweat whenever you're out in a cold environment. In fact, you should be a little bit cool. Take that extra layer off or whatever. You need to be just a little bit cool. Comfortable, but a little cool, so that you are naturally releasing moisture through your skin, but not wetting your clothing. Because once you stop for the night, you're stuck with damp clothing. So let's eliminate that. But right now we're going to start with the body. Mechanical action or physical action is how we generate heat as we're walking and being active. The other method is by chemical action, and that's where we've eaten food and we're in the process of digestion. We generate heat that way. So whenever we go to eat a big meal, let's say in the summer, it does not make sense whenever the ambient air temperature around you is 90-something degrees with 90% humidity to drink a big pot of hot soup, because we just raised our core temperature. Now the body has to fight more to cool. The inverse is true in the winter. If you're trying to maintain heat, you do not want to drink cold things. That's the reason I tell you do not eat snow, because you're just bringing down your core temperature and forcing your body to replenish that with calories and try to generate it. Now, how we can apply this. One, what we're wearing and what we're doing can affect our comfort in the long term. So, one, I need to be well hydrated. You actually need more water when you're in the Arctic than you do in the desert, because water is so necessary and vital in the process of shifting heat, shifting components within the body, that the hydrated muscle, the hydrated tissue, and good blood volume is very necessary. If your blood gets thick because you're dehydrated, you're losing the ability to convey heat. Okay? So you got to keep the radiator stoked with water. Two, calories. We want stuff that produce a good deal of calories and that break down slowly, like carbohydrates, things like that, so that in the digestive action, it takes longer for the body to digest it. Therefore, that chemical reaction takes longer, and we're therefore generating heat longer. Now, how long? That depends on your body, your comfort zone, and your level. On average, and this is a rough average, guys, on average, somewhere between 3 and 5 in the morning is when you are the coolest in body temperature. That's because you're usually asleep, inactive, and your digestion has completed, and now it's just the residual heat running. So your temperature drops slowly but steadily, and you get cooler. Now we can pump that up a little by, before we stop for the evening, we have done physical exercise, like chopping that wood. I like to chop wood or whatever right before I go to bed. Get the body going, or take that brisk little walk to answer nature's call. Something to get the physical going. So I have raised up my physical, mechanical energy. I'm generating heat from my body. 2, I want to eat that heavy meal about 30 minutes to an hour before I'm going to lay down. That big pot of stew or something heavy, so that I fill my belly with heavy food that's going to take a while to digest, and the warmth of that is now radiating through my internal organs and therefore being carried by my blood to my extremities. So I'm banking the fire. I'm adding a little bit of fuel to coast me even further. Now, in the next segment, we'll go into clothing, bedding, and tips and tricks on how to cocoon yourself and insulate yourself and buy it the most time you can to get the heat to last as long as possible. So you're not having to get up every 2 hours or whatever. From personal experience, I can tell you that in my environment in the deep south, the deep cold winter is normally in the teens, 20s, something like that. That's usually it. Anything beyond that's extreme, that's very rare. But we don't have the gear that many people, we don't carry the gear, I should say, that people in the far north do, because it is such an extreme. So my sleeping bag is normally rated down to 30, not 10 below. I don't need that big heavy sleeping bag. My clothing is also appropriate because my daytime temperatures in the winter may be as high as 60s or 70s. And yet at night it might be in the 20s, 40 to 50 degree drop. That makes a distinct difference because my core temperature has to maintain much longer at a bigger temperature drop. And so my furnace has to ratchet up, so to speak. Now, as long as I'm out working, my physical energy is generating it. But when I lay down, I just got residual and chemical energy. That's all. I know this is kind of simplified, but I'm trying to talk to the people who haven't got a lot of experience yet. Stay with me, guys. We're going to take it step by step, and I'm going to show you some more advanced techniques. I'm Blackie for Shaman's Forge Bushcraft, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.